What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, PK, and Rob, here with the Loud Rooster Podcast, Episode 3. I'm super excited to be here.
Episode 3.
Episode 3. We've made it.
Yeah. Is that a milestone in the podcast world, Episode 3?
Probably not. But
it is for us today.
It was with Star Wars also.
That's true. Hey, Speaking of which, my kids and I, for Father's Day, we got pizza and we watched Empire Strikes Back.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. My son was scared to death.
That was the scarier. I would say that's the scarier one of all.
Well, like the lightsaber fight between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker when Luke Skywalker gets his hand cut off.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'll post it on Instagram. But my son's face during that fight scene, dude, he was so scared. But I noticed, like, how come there's all these arms getting cut off in Star Wars? It's always arms. Except
because you got to have an arm to have a lightsaber, right?
Well, like in A New Hope, when he goes into, what's the name of that town with the bar? What's the name of that bar that they go into? Mos Eisley. When they go in there, as a guy's arm gets cut off in there. And then when Luke Skywalker gets attacked by the Yeti, Luke Skywalker cuts the Yeti's arm off. And then when Darth Vader at some point, didn't his arm get cut off or his hand? And then Luke Skywalker gets his hand cut off. What's the deal there? George?
So just to tell everybody, this is not a Star Wars podcast, but here we are.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand.
Oh, jeez. That's horrible. That's horrible. But because I haven't had a chance to tell you, happy belated Father's Day. I know this is several weeks after.
And you too. And you too, yeah. It's, as you guys know, we're kind of recording this, ahead of time. So, Father's Day was actually, a couple days ago, or yesterday. But it's a cool thing to be a dad, right? You get to watch your kid freak out at a hand getting cut off.
Yeah, my daughter's all about watching Return of the Jedi today, but my son is not interested at all. So we'll see how that goes.
Why do you think that is, Rob?
Well, he's 7, and he doesn't. He's not into the scary parts. Last night he woke up and said he heard voices in the dark. So I don't know if Obi-Wan's reaching out to him for some future missions or what, but my son's here.
It might be the dark side.
There are times when I kind of wonder if he is on the dark
So,
side.
let's tell me something good that's happened this past week. I've been kind of off the radar, but tell me something good that's happened, and maybe if you had something disappointing happen this week, tell me what's going on in Rob's life.
Absolutely, they kind of go together. Here in Georgia, it's been in a lot of different places. It's been ridiculously hot. So being able to go out on my walks during my normal time is just not happening. So,
what time you usually go? Around lunch?
Well, yeah, I'll go around lunch, and then I usually go after work. But it's just hot, dude. I mean, even after work, it's been in the upper 90s. So, the last 2 weeks, I've been getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes even earlier, to hit my walk. And I know some folks are out there like 6 o'clock. That's not that early, but for when you're working from home, things are a little.
It's very early.
Yeah,
it's very early.
So I've been waking up at 6, dude, to go out on my walks, and it's nice and cool. And it's great to get that first walk out of the way that early. But for some reason, my back has been killing me. When I get out of bed. I don't know if that's the way I've been sleeping or what, but I try to stretch it out and all that stuff before I go out on my walk. But by the time I'm about 3/4 of the way through, it's killing me. But then when I go on a walk at lunch, it's it's not that bad. So, and it's crazy the difference. Like I'll average when I go out in the morning, it's only like 21 minutes a mile. But then because my back's hurting me so bad, I can't really walk that fast. But when I go around lunchtime, my back's not hurting, then I can get it down to 17 minutes, sometimes even less than 17 minutes a mile. But I just got to figure out what's going on there. So the good thing is despite the heat, I have been able to get my 2 walks in for the most part. There was one day when it was like 100 degrees. I didn't go in the afternoon because I was, worried for my health. Um, but the bad thing is, man, I got to get this back thing figured out. It's trying to get me to slow down, and it's trying to get me to not go on my walks the way I've committed to.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that I have a history of breaking a habit, and it all goes away. So I'm trying to fight that as much as possible. But
Yeah, it's tough.
I've been able to maintain. What about you?
That's good, man. Yeah, so this past week I was actually me and the fam was up in Maine at Acadia National Park, so I've been kind of off the radar. But I would say altogether, for the most part, great week. Beautiful place to be, and I was able to do multiple hikes, and we got out on the bikes and rode the carriage trails, and camped the whole time. I would say, if anything negative for this past week is, probably the food that I was eating is not necessarily the best. It was more convenient, right?
Yeah,
And I'm not talking about, fast food or so forth, but when you're going out camping, you just need calories, right?
yeah.
So I could probably bet I was not burning those calories off,
Hmm.
but at the same time, it was just good to be out and kind of, not doing the daily grind and so forth. So that was fantastic. So
I saw you guys got up and went somewhere to watch the sunset or the sunrise.
yeah,
Sunset, I think.
sunset. Yeah, so that was our first day there. We went up on top of Cadillac Mountain, is what it's called. So and watched the sunset. And man, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was super cold too, which
Hmm.
was driving up from the Atlanta area. That's kind of where it was 100 here
Right.
back home. I'm talking to family members, and I talked to you for a little bit. I'm like, yeah, it's 50 degrees and it's windy as all get out here. What? I hate you.
Uh,
But yeah, that was good. So I'm excited. It's episode 3, and we've got people already tuned in, like we talked about earlier.
yeah.
It's 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 recorded in advance, so we're 2 weeks ahead in real time. But we have how many people already subscribed or viewed? Like 39 people viewed.
Yeah.
We got
We just put out
almost
that.
10 subscribers.
Yeah. Today is it's probably July, around the 1st of July when you're listening to this, but we are actually recording this on June 20th. So today was the first episode was shared, and so we've got, I can't remember how many. It was 40 something views, I think, so far, and we got some like 6 subscribers or something. And those are really small
Awesome.
numbers, but dude, I'm excited about it.
It's awesome. Yeah, I like it too, and it tells you that when we just dropped it today,
Yeah,
right? There's a lot of people who are kind of wanting something. So, with that being said, we want y'all
absolutely,
involved in the
man.
podcast. We send out on our Instagram all the time questions. Answer those questions. That helps us on topics to go over. It also will help later on when we start having guests on the podcast
Hmm.
on what we want to talk about or who we want to invite on. Um, and then also, if we were to have giveaways, that would help too, right?
Oh, speaking of that, um, Parker, you've seen these, but I went and got some. We got some Loud Rooster podcast stickers that I'm really excited about, and
Yes.
I want to start. want to share some of these. So I was thinking like the first 5 folks that would share either on Instagram, Facebook, or in the comment section of our YouTube channel. If you would share just something, the first 5 folks that share something they've learned during their weight loss journey, then we will get a hold of you and get all your information so that we can send you your very own Loud Rooster podcast sticker. These are exclusive.
Super,
If you were to
super
sell
exclusive.
this on eBay, it would go for at least $2 or $3 at this point. I mean, it's
That's
super
2 or 3
rare,
bucks.
super
Wow.
rare and exclusive. Like they only exist right now on my laptop and on my kids' water bottles. So get in early. You know what I'm
We're
saying?
getting the podcast going on at school.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, share us things you've learned on your weight loss journey, the first 5, and then we'll contact you and get your information, send you out some Loud Rooster podcasts. And, these are the beginning stages. And so later
Yeah.
on, we'll have more stuff to share. But
And,
yeah,
and you'll be one of the first ones.
yeah, absolutely. And subscribe, to our Instagram and follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click
And
that.
lightly click.
Yeah,
Just lightly click the notifications bell so you
yeah.
know when we have a new one that comes
We
out. We
aren't
don't want you
those
to smash it.
right. We aren't those people that demand that you smash the notification bell. We, just a light little click. It works just as good. You know what I'm saying?
In fact, it's better for your hardware.
It is. You won't wear out your mouse buttons if you
So
don't smash it.
yeah, let's talk about, because this past week I was away vacation, right?
Yep.
Kind of away from the norm, away from what I usually do. So I was thinking about, let's talk about a reset, right?
Hmm.
What do you do when you need to rejuvenate or when you're stuck on a plateau?
How?
What do you do when you just, or you've stopped and you need
Hmm.
to restart? What's that look like?
Yeah. Um, Man, I think one of the hardest things for me was being honest and admitting that I was at a point where I needed to reset. And
Yeah.
like you were saying, you go on vacation, and it's unreasonable to think that you're just going to be uh, absolutely perfect on your diet on vacation and things like that. It's okay for you to eat off your diet, or
Yes.
if it's okay for you to kind of indulge a little bit when you're on vacation. And there's some folks like I've done it where you go on vacation, maybe you still work out a little bit because you love it. Um, but it's okay to indulge. So when you come back, you realize, okay, I gave myself some freebies on vacation, so now I got to get back to it. But then there's also the positions where I think you and I have been in. I know I have, where it was a long period of time, and or
Hmm.
maybe you're starting to lose focus, lose motivation, and you realize that you've lost your zeal and determination that you had when you first got started. And
Yeah.
so that's what we're talking about. And for me, I had a big one this past week, and I actually posted about it on Facebook and Instagram, talking about how I had a doctor's appointment, and I knew she was going to be doing some blood work. So I just got those results back from yesterday, and I'm stoked.
Surveys says.
I'm stoked. This is what her message said. Um, oh boy,
I'm excited that you're stoked. That's
yeah. She said basically all your levels are fine. Kidney function looks great. Liver function looks great. Um, my triglycerides were still a little high, but I'm going to go through my numbers compared to April of 2021. So a little more than a year away
and
from
in that
last year.
time frame, how long have you been focusing on?
Oh, not long. Like I just
Okay.
got started in April 2022.
Okay.
right about the time I turned 48. Um, so, and it's all up and down. But I went to the doctor April 13th, 2021, and that's when it was just like, oh my gosh, I got to do something. So, um, this is when I found out that I had type 2 diabetes. So, April 13th, 2021, my glucose level in my blood, the the normal range is 70 to 105 milligrams, and mine was 319.
Mm.
Yeah, so I went yesterday. I have it down to, or Friday. My test says I have it down to 148,
Nice.
which is great. Um, I do test my blood sugar throughout the day, and I'm regularly below 100. So um, this glucose came. Uh, I was fasting when this happened, but still 148 down from 319. I'm loving it. Cholesterol, April of 2021 was 287. You're looking for 200 or less, and yeah, Friday's test revealed my cholesterol was 200. So I'm in the
Nice.
normal
You're in
range.
zone officially.
Yeah, baby. My triglycerides are still elevated. I got to figure that out. But um, normal is 149 or below. April of 2021, I was 644.
Oof.
Yeah. And then on Friday, I have it down to 305.
Okay.
So I still need to
That's
get
it. You
that.
have to,
But
man.
see, that's the other thing. Like, if all this was bad news, I'd be like, oh, dude, like, what's the point? But I have a lot of good news. And this is the only thing that isn't where I want it to be. But it's been cut more than in half, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was at
it's a success,
644.
man.
It's
And it
huge.
shows, well, it shows since April you've been working on it and it's already improved this much.
Well, this is a year, April 2021, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was at 644. It's more than cut in half, and that just shows you how high it was. That it was cut in half, and it's still considered high. But at 305, I know that when I go back in 3 months, I'll have it. If I keep doing what I'm doing, it'll be in the normal range.
But I think this is a good time to throw in this kind of thing that your numbers are showing just like we do, right? That you're working towards it. You might not be perfect or in where you should be, but you're showing progress.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for you that's a rejuvenator for you, right?
Yeah. So April of 2021 is when I figured out that I was type 2 diabetic. My A1C then was 10.4. You want it to be 5.6 or below. Um, and so when I went on Friday, it was down to 6.8. So,
Good.
but here's the deal with that. For some reason, my doctor's office struggles with getting me my prescription refills when I need them and all this stuff. So I've been on metformin for my type 2 diabetes. And because it was so elevated, she wanted me to take my metformin twice a day, once in the morning and once at night. And then she also prescribed me this whole other medication. So I was supposed to be on um, two pills for a total of 3 times a day. But they were only giving me like 30-day supplies. So I mean, every month I was trying to get a hold of them to work with my insurance to get me another refill, dude, and it was just ridiculous. So the last time I got a refill for a month, I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just taking one a day. Because I was testing my blood, and my blood sugar was it was really good. So I was like, obviously once a day is working now. So I'm just going to keep doing it. And I didn't take the other medicine that she gave me. Um, and I'm in no way advocating that you go against your doctor's recommendations. All right, the Loud Rooster podcast does not advocate ignoring your doctor's orders.
Or
However,
taking medical advice from us.
right. However, in this case, I did. So, but yeah, I've only been taking metformin once a day, and doing my walking and eating well, and those are my numbers, dude. And I'm really, really stoked. And so, as far as one of the ways that allows me to reset and kind of get refocused is seeing success like this.
For sure. Yeah, no doubt.
But then another one, I guess, is seeing that I still have some work to do. Like there's something about knowing, without a doubt, that you know what to do to be successful. Because at first,
and that it's working.
Right. At first, I was just like, I need to do something, but I don't know what to do. Like, I'm at a loss. And this is one of those negative thoughts that I had. I had done CrossFit. I've weightlifted in the past. I've lost weight. I've been healthier, all these things. But for whatever reason, I act like I'm ignorant of what I need to do. And maybe it was just an excuse to, not actually try and do something about it. But this shows me that I know what to do, and that the effort that I'm putting in is that I don't have to do anything more than what I'm doing.
So, a question on that. That's a great transition, because I was going to ask you, like, you get these good results in. You're walking twice a day, right?
Yeah.
Do results like this make you want to even up your game? Like, okay, now I want to throw in some weightlifting, or now I want to go back to CrossFit once a week, or I want to walk 3 times a day because what I'm doing is working and I'm super motivated now.
Yes. Probably not adding another walk.
Because that's so time
well,
consuming.
yeah. I mean, it does. I mean, it usually takes me around 40 minutes, somewhere between 35 and 40 minutes on my walk. But I have had several thoughts about how I'd like to, maybe throw in walk once in the morning, and then throw in a weightlifting session at lunch, and then maybe walk in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Progress,
absolutely.
Dude. That's good.
But in the end, because that's one of the major things, especially if you don't have these ways of determining whether or not what you're doing is working. It can be frustrating because you don't know. You're just kind of doing it blindly.
When you have a goal that doesn't have something that's measurable, it's difficult to gauge it.
Yeah. So keep track of this stuff, especially if you're overweight. You're going to the doctor and getting blood work because your doctor is scheduling you to come in every 3 months.
If you're going to the doctor, they're drawing blood if you're overweight.
But do that.
No doubt about it.
Do that and keep that paperwork, and be aware of where you were, where you started, and where you are now. Because this is proof that you are adding to your life, adding to the longevity of your life, adding to how long you're going to be around for your kids and your spouse. This stuff is gold. It's gold. And this is a non-scale victory. This is a huge non-scale victory.
I like this pissed off and positive Rob here.
Yeah.
You get some numbers back, and he's like aggravated and stoked at the same time. Yeah. He's like, yes, I'm gonna do this.
And it's not that I'm aggravated in a negative way at myself. I'm aggravated that I let myself go so long without looking at this stuff. So that's one way that kind of gets me refocused and reset for another charge. Ryan, what about you? Yes, PK. What about you?
Oh, me.
You thought I was just asking a question out to the universe,
to the group. Yeah,
right. Something That was such an emotional
So,
pause. What about you?
it was a rhetorical question.
What about you,
Um,
Instagram?
so I would say, let's go with this past week. I've been going through, been kind of at a plateau, but feeling good, doing some good walks, some PRing, some 5Ks before
Hmm.
that. But but at the same time, just being mentally in a place where I'm just stagnant, right?
Hmm.
And I'm going to talk about the mental side first because yours is obviously 100% physical. The result you got back that went
That
boom,
one is
let's do
yes.
this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, but I felt like I was getting stagnant
Hmm.
mentally. Like, okay, we're doing this, and that's fine and dandy, but we're just doing it because it's routine.
Hmm.
Well, taking a week away from it and going out, and for me, one thing that rejuvenates me is just getting in touch with nature. It always has.
Hmm.
Everybody's different, right? But being out there and seeing beauty in its purest form, and connecting with that, and then coming back and going, I'm rejuvenated mentally. Like
Hmm.
I'm ready to rock and roll. And today, for an example, I've been off of the bike because of saddle sore issues for over a month, almost
Hmm.
2 months now, because I didn't want to injure myself anymore. And today was the first stream that I've done back on the bike. And I tell you, it wasn't a long ride. I did 50 minutes. Yeah, sorry, 40 minutes. I did a 30-minute and then 10-minute. So 40 minutes on the bike, but it felt awesome.
Yeah.
It felt awesome to get the sweat rolling. It felt awesome. And now I'm rejuvenated to get back and go. And it's a renewed sense in myself. And I think sometimes the mental side holds us up, right?
Hmm.
But I'll talk about a physical one, right? On the other side, a physical one is, when you step on that scale and you see that number lower, or you have a non-scale victory, that rejuvenates me just as much. But I think it's sometimes good to back away with the intention of coming back, right?
Hmm.
And I'm going to use with the intention softly here because how many times have you and I, Rob, backed away from something and didn't go back to it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you have to,
Pausing with a purpose. Yeah.
yeah, and that's a great way to say it. Pausing with a purpose. Pausing. Um, because if you say stopping, you're not going
Right.
back. And I
Right.
think a lot of the times whether it be go to the gym, whether it be working on yourself, whether it be reading more often, whatever it is,
Yeah.
right, that you're working on, people stop for a minute with the intent to go back and don't continue.
Do you
And
think that? Go ahead.
I think that for me, I have to tell myself, we're going to take a week off. We're going to go see the sights. We're going to come back and we're going to hit it harder. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking to myself as I'm sitting there, on that sunset, right? Man, this feels good. I feel motivated to get back and kill it because I'm worth it,
Yeah.
right?
I was going to ask, what is it? Because there are two people. There's right. There's two groups. There's those who pause and then they don't come back to it, and then those who do and that pause and do come back to it. So like, what is it that causes those who don't? And I guess I'm asking myself, what is it that has caused you not to come back to it? Because in CrossFit or any kind of, and I hate
You just
what
go
you ought to
CrossFit
get
because
annoyed.
that's what you're used to. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but in any kind of weightlifting, like there's a deload, there's a time to deload, and where because when you're exercising, you're causing stress on your body,
Yeah.
and um, taking that time away allows you, like because when folks go to competitions, whether it's a powerlifting competition or whatever, there's a time before that competition where they aren't lifting like they were before because they want their body to be completely healed. They want to be at 100%. And if you're regularly moving and exercising, your body's just not at 100% because you're always challenging your body. Um, so there's something about the mindset leading into the pause. And that we keep talking about being honest with yourself. Like,
Mm.
if I go into a pause, it's easy for me to say, well, I'm gonna, step away for a week because it's good for me to do that. And if I do that at a point where I am not satisfied, or I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, if I'm just using it as an excuse to stop, that's when I feel like those are the times where I'm not coming back to it because it feels comfortable. I enjoy not doing it more than I enjoy doing it, so I just don't do it. I don't come back
Yeah,
to it.
it's instant gratification.
Hmm. But then there are
Uh,
times like now, like this weekend. I told you my back's been hurting, so I took, I paused with a purpose. I want my back to heal, whatever's
mhm.
going on with it, so that I can do what I was doing before better.
Yeah,
And
I mean that's the same thing I did with the bike, right?
yeah,
I got on the treadmill instead because I knew my mentality. If I just stopped on the bike, am I gonna get back on?
yeah.
That's
And,
why I had to do something different.
and like now, I miss sweating on purpose because like I've sweat on accident a lot because I'm a
Yeah,
big
welcome to the
dude.
South.
Yeah, I'm a big dude, and going out and playing horse with my son or
Sweat
pushing
on
him on the
accident.
swing or whatever, dude, and I just start sweating when I'm not trying to sweat right now. Um, but sweating on purpose, dude. Like, and that's what I would tell my wife. Like, I need to get back to sweating on purpose. And now, like, you know what it's like when you're on that bike and your sweat is pouring off of you. I saw you
Hmm.
when you wrung out your that headband you had,
Ugh,
and you could
so
feel
gross and
that
awesome
yeah,
at all at once.
you could feel that hot sweat dripping off of you, dude. To me, that is, um, it's like excuses leaking out of my body. It's
Ooh.
I don't want to say pain is weakness leaving the body because that's the best way to injure yourself. But
Oh
when
yeah.
I'm sweating, hardcore sweating, it's like all of my insecurity is leaking out of me, and all of my doubt is leaking out of me. Um, so yeah, at this point, my mindset is so pissed off and positive that I look forward to those times, and that's something that was missing before. That wasn't anything that I was looking for. I was trying not to sweat. I was just trying to be comfortable and sit on the couch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I've been there too. I sweated on accident before I even got on the bike today.
Yeah,
That you're like, man, oh that's rough. But it's part of it.
yeah.
It's part of it, and then when you sweat on purpose, and I love that term, sweating on purpose. When you sweat on purpose, it feels that much better. Feels that much better.
So you said you're doing 5Ks and I'm assuming you're talking about walking.
Yeah, 5K. Yeah, 5K a day is what I was doing walking
Right.
when I was on the treadmill. So now that I can be back on the bike, what I'm going to do is alternate probably just
Hmm.
to keep my body guessing because, like you were saying, you need to deload. There was times when let's see, this past December, I did biking for an hour plus every single day in December,
Yeah.
and at the end I could feel my body just weak.
Hmm.
Like my numbers that I was outputting towards the end were garbage. And they were garbage because it was my body telling me, hey, PK, you need a break.
Yeah.
And you got to listen to your body. It's important that, you talk about deload. When I'm doing powerlifting coaching before a big meet, all the athletes get upset because we're like, all right, you have a meet in 2 weeks, for the next two sessions that we do every week, you're going to be lifting basically rep work for your max. And
Yeah.
they get frustrated because they're ready to lift because they're so used to it. But I'm like, no, we're keeping you flexible because at the base, right? You were talking about, let's talk about the scientific reason why when you build muscle, you're tearing your muscle. That's what's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
So your body needs time to rebuild, and I think your body and your mind often need time to rebuild. But you have to tell yourself, "I've got to get back to it."
Yeah. Yeah. And I know a lot of folks, like, we spend a lot of time talking about non-scale victories, and I think that term kind of came into existence because people were using this scale to motivate themselves, and a lot of times this scale just can't do that because you'll hit weight loss plateaus when there's other changes happening in your body. Um, but to me, it's always been important to me to weigh myself every day, and I know that not everybody wants to do that or should do that. Um, I've, I understand that my body is going to sometimes retain water. Sometimes it's just going to be, depending on what I ate the day before. But for
Mhm.
me, I've noticed that if I, like for Father's Day, I had pizza and beer. I had,
Yeah,
I
it's an
had,
off day.
I had low carb beer, but I had pizza and beer. And so this morning when I get up, I was not interested in stepping on the scale. I should have.
You you should have, just to see what it does to you,
Right.
right? But you don't
Yes,
want to because you
exactly.
know it's bad news.
Exactly. And it's going to be ridiculous. It might be a pound or 2 pounds, or it may like something crazy may have happened, and it'll show like a 6 or 7 pound gain. I know I didn't
Oh,
gain 6 or 7 pounds overnight.
yeah, yeah,
It's
no.
just water retention and all this. Like if I get back on my regular eating, then all that water weight will go away, and I'll get back down to what I was before. But like when I went in on Friday, I was like, I went in early in the morning to do my blood work because I didn't want to have to fast until 2 o'clock when my appointment was.
I feel you on that.
But when I weighed in after I'd had breakfast and lunch and been drinking water and all that stuff. So the 19 pounds that it shows that I've lost over the last 3 months, I know it was probably closer to 25 pounds
Yeah,
just in the
because you're
last.
similar to me on how you weigh yourself in the
Yeah,
morning
yeah,
after the bowel movement time and naked
right,
because that's your true weight. That's who you
yeah.
are,
And
right? And
I want to be clear. Parker and I do not weigh ourselves together in the morning naked.
that's mainly because our scale can't handle it.
That is the that is the last reason that doesn't happen. But but yeah, I mean the only consistent way if you really want to implement weighing yourself to try and track your weight, the only the most accurate way to do that is as soon as you get up in the morning, you go in and use the bathroom, and before you drink water, before you do anything, you use the bathroom, and then with no clothes on, you weigh yourself.
So some people might say that's cheating, Rob.
Yeah, but I can't stand it when people say that because they say, "Oh, well, that's the lightest you weigh during the day." Oh, well, yeah. So, I mean, how is it cheating? Like it is your body's as close to your body's um, actual
Purist.
weight,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and the thing is, it's different. Here's how that works, right? Because that's you're grabbing the same time, the same type of sample
Yeah.
daily or whenever you do it, but it's the same. You're looking at the same thing, and that's why it makes sense.
And even then, like maybe you didn't pee as much as like there's
Should
still
have.
some variables there, right? But
Yeah.
you know,
Not as many. Not as many.
that's like saying like if you're in school and you have a backpack with books, it's cheating to not weigh yourself with a backpack full of books on your back. Why would you do that? Why would you add extra temporary load to yourself to try and get an accurate measurement of what your weight is? Get rid of all that temporary stuff. That's why I wait until the morning. My body has digested my food. It's processed the water. Most of the water that I've consumed, and I expel all the waste that's waiting to be expelled. Like, it doesn't make sense to weigh myself and then sit down and drop a
Yeah.
deuce. Why would I do that? I'm gonna
Well, you don't do the before and after just for fun?
just to see how much it weighed. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Anyway, um, so I think, you know, our listeners, I think our ask of you is, hey, weigh in with us, guys, and not what we're talking about, actual physical like weight on the scale with Rob and myself all at the same time again, but you know, we want y'all to weigh in when we have discussions, and I actually, while we're sitting here, no joke, I got a comment on our podcast from a friend over on the Haba na Haba Discord,
Sweet.
and this is what they said. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to throw it out there, but I do want to talk about, and we'd like to talk about comments on a weekly basis when we go through this. But they said the podcast was great. Loved hearing the struggles, especially the all or nothing.
Hmm.
I fall victim to that all the time. So thanks for reaching out on Discord or on Instagram, Facebook, uh, over on Twitter, and here on YouTube, because we want to hear that we're not the only ones, and we want to hear, you know, that you guys connect with it.
Yeah.
Um,
We know
it
that
means
we're
a
not the
lot.
only ones. We know we're not the only ones.
Yeah.
I mean, because you and I know each other, and both have those same thoughts and struggles, dude. And even though
Yeah.
like we're so early on in this podcast and building this community is super small right now. But honestly, without like the whole purpose of this podcast is you, the person listening. Like PK and I have realized some life changing things because we've been dealing with this for a long time, and we know that there are people out there that need to hear some of the things that we have figured out. And I'm not talking about like, neither one of us are doctors, we're not nutritionists, none of those things, but dude, we have struggled mentally and emotionally with weight loss and exercise and all these things. And for me, that is what stood in the way more than the fact that maybe I don't like Brussels sprouts. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that doesn't bother me near as much as that inner voice in my head that says, "Why are you even trying? Like, who are you to think that you could add years to your life? Who are you to think that you could lose weight and actually go to a store and just buy some clothes off the rack?"
Yeah.
Like, that's what I struggle with. That's my daily fight. And I know that there are other people out there that are listening to the lies that their own brain is telling them. You can do this. You are doing this. And that's what, like on our Instagram, that's why I posted the journey is success. The goal is not the success. The
No,
goal
well,
is where you like to be.
you can't get to the goal without the journey, right?
Right.
This is not the Wizard of Oz. We're not clicking our heels together
Yeah.
and saying there's no place like weight loss,
Right.
right? We unfortunately have to follow this yellow brick road,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot longer yellow brick road
And
than was
it's
on that
paved.
movie.
It's paved with sweat and teeth gritting and sometimes blood and
Tears
yeah.
and
But
maybe a little munchkin here and there.
I don't even know what that means, but he's probably right. But I'm telling you, just the fact every day that you stay on this journey is the success. The day that you talk yourself out of not getting up and going for your walk or getting on your bike or your treadmill or lifting your weights or not eating what you prepared for yourself to eat that's good for you, it's a dangerous place. But it's
Mm-hmm.
not the end if you don't do it. but that is the mountain. Every day is a mountain to climb.
Well, and I'll make a reference here. There in making yourself better every single day, there is no U-turn signs. You're allowed to turn around because you made a mistake or slipped up. There's no such thing as you can't continue going in the direction you need to go on because you slip up. And it's all right to take a wrong turn every once in a while. We just have to navigate it and go on that journey.
I hope this is getting through to some of you. Like, this is why it's important that we have people listen to this. It is not because we want to have just this successful podcast. I mean, we're not going to, like, that something that we, I guess, ultimately would like, but that's not the purpose behind this.
No, definitely not.
We're passionate about encouraging people because we both wish that we had somebody in our corner doing this for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what it's like to struggle and to think that you're not worth it, or to think that nothing you do is going to make any difference. And I know what it's like to think about that for so long that your health seems like it's just ruined. And to sit in a doctor's office dreading that look that they give you when they shake their head and they're like, you're not doing anything to change what I'm telling you. Why do we ignore that doctor when she talks about, don't ignore them when they talk about how your blood sugar is starting to creep up, or how you're too heavy, and that they're not just calling you fat. It's not like they're saying, hey, you just need to weigh less. There are consequences to that.
They're concerned.
Yeah.
It is what it is. They don't care how you look.
Listen to them about your blood pressure, and listen to them about your weight and your blood sugar, your cholesterol, triglycerides, like all these things. Listen to them and realize that small changes are success. Taking a small step forward leads to other steps forward, and you can change the trajectory of your health in a moment. A momentary decision to start doing something that you weren't doing yesterday is going to make all the difference. That's why we're doing this, is because we want to drive that home for people. And we're not saying this as people who have done this for years and we're thin and we're healthy. Like both PK and I are overweight. We're in the middle of doing this. Like, we are where you are. We have the same success, the same struggles that you have.
And we might be further away from where you are too.
I guarantee you that I am.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
So it's, I think but I'm going to leave with this comment for the day, and you even brought it up earlier, but I just was thinking about it, and it was put so eloquently. Go sweat on purpose so you don't sweat on accident.
Mm-hmm. Sweat on purpose, baby. That's what it's all about. Sweat on purpose. I'm Rob, and he's VK. And
we'll see y'all next time.
This has been the Loud Rooster Podcast. Peace out.